Guys, Broomstick here. It's been about 4 days since the incident with Charlie. I did make one initial video about it, but a lot of information's come out since. I kind of have a bit more nuance on the topic. Before I get into it, though, I just want to say that if anyone saw that video, man, that's one of those things that sits with you. You know, I was one of those guys where, like, at 7 a.m. and things of that nature in middle school, I'd have these quote-unquote friends showing me videos of, like, cartel beheadings and stuff like that. So from a young age, you know, I was kind of desensitized to stuff on the internet. I also worked for a little bit in, like, emergency medicine, so I saw, like, a lot of broken bones and just, you know, people being injured, gravely injured, stuff like that. Like, I'm kind of desensitized to that, but seeing that video of Charlie taking that 7.62 to the neck, I mean, that was very brutal. That's going to probably sit with me for life. I think the reason why it's so much more serious is it happened in front of, like, a group of college kids. And then it also, you know, this is someone I've seen talk. Like, I've seen clips. I've probably seen, like, a couple hours of footage of the guy just between, you know, watching, like, Lib Rage compilations and stuff ever since, like, like 2021 or whatever. I got onto him kind of late, but yeah, like, I think that's why it was so impactful. One thing I'm really worried about with this whole thing going on is, well, I want to start with this. So many people have so many different sides of the story. It really just goes to show everyone lives in their own bubble. You know, I'm of the understanding, probably like you guys, that this guy is probably, you know, radical trans activist or radical left activist, Antifa type. I'm also not dismissing the Care Bear theory, because there was a Care Bear. He was an Ash Care Bear, that, like, balding old guy who was saying, like, basically he created a diversion, and then the real shooter Tyler got away. But you know, that is a theory. Like, where do the Care Bears fit into all this? I totally get all that. And I think one thing, you know, if there's a secret society out there or, like, a special vested interest group, it probably would be in their best interest to blame this on something like the trans community and just try to, like, radicalize up both sides further, create more division. Division is definitely when, like, the higher ups win. It's because they can kind of lever a more unsafe society, and everyone's interpreting it as a less safe society. They can do that and kind of, like, use that to create new measures where it's like, okay, let's take away some personal freedoms, let's get the Patriot Act in there, stuff like that. So that's something I'm really concerned about is, you know, is someone like Trump going to come down on this and be like, we got to control the speech of this radical left? They're, you know, espousing a whole bunch of hate speech, and then, you know, by the time these next 4 years are up, we come out of this administration with, like, a lot less personal freedoms as Americans because of just the way the powers that be spun this whole thing, you know. So that's something really on my mind as well. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here, guys. The thing I was saying about, like, everyone has their own narrative. My boomer parents are, you know, they're super liberal, right? And they're stuck in their ways. It's not like, you know, if anything, I was the anomaly of the family because I shifted further right within the last 5 years or so, right? And, you know, they just have this, like, Rachel Maddow CNN brain where it's like, oh, Charlie Kirk was shot by someone more right-wing than him. What? Like, you know, that's what I'm saying about everyone's getting their own side of the story. No one's focused on facts because we live in such a divisive bubble, kind of, you know, everyone has their own news story bubble in this country. Everyone has their own algorithm. So, yeah, I don't know, like, my boomer parents came to that kind of conclusion on the whole thing, man. It's just wild. But there you go, man. It just goes to show just how divided this country is. Do I think a civil war will happen? No, I don't think we're there yet. But I will say, if we have a few more events with rapid succession, with the gravitas that this event had, then I could see a civil war. But this alone, no way. People enjoy their slop too much. People enjoy, you know, people got to go back to work, pay for their health care. Like, people are just too distracted in this country to really go to civil war or something like this. But I will say, you know, a handful of events like this ringing out, yeah, I could see that kind of breaking the camel's back. But this one thing alone, no way. And, you know, I get crazy stuff happens here in the U.S., the Americas, all the time. But I will say that if we do get like a cool down period, like, you know, if there is a cool down period, I think we'll be okay. I don't think there'll be any kind of like civil war or anything. But yeah, guys, man, I'm really concerned that like if there was some kind of Care Bear involvement, you know, they're just blaming this on like other entities that be. One thing I didn't mention in my last video was that Charlie was noticing in the last weeks of his life. So there's a lot of clips out there of Charlie saying stuff like, these Care Bear donors have a lot of explaining to do for, you know, being the primary donors to like Marxist causes, you know, Marxist campus organizations, you know. That was something he was talking about. And actually, within 48 hours of his death, he was on an interview with Mr. Ben Shapiro, and he was, you know, just kind of questioning why is the funding going to Care Bear Land. And, you know, you can actually see, like, Ben Shapiro's body language. He was kind of like, yeah, this guy's got to go. Like, he was shaking his head and stuff, like, just as Charlie was trying to ask him a question about Care Bear Land. Like, you know, and that's the thing, though, you know, is, like, a lot of these guys, I mean, I guess trying to, like, flip. It's really weird because, you know, there's someone like Tucker Carlson who's been doing quite a lot of noticing just this year alone. Like, I remember seeing a clip of him, like, in March. He had that, like, Grant guy on his podcast. I think that Grant guy also went on Joe Rogan. But they were talking about, like, World War II revisionist history and stuff like that. And, you know, Tucker Carlson saying, like, hey, when I look at the UK, it doesn't look like a country that won. You know, this doesn't look like the UK. This doesn't look like the country that won. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Immigration, just the shit in the streets, all the garbage collectors striking in the UK that aren't picking up the garbage. There's a lot of stuff going on, right? The multiculturalism, yada, yada. Now, that's Tucker Carlson saying that. And we know that Tucker Carlson was like a CIA asset, basically. His father was in the CIA. Fuentes did a really good expose on this. But it does kind of feel like Tucker Carlson, although he might be controlled opposition, he's probably the furthest thing to the right and questioning things like Care Bear Land, questioning things like World War II. He's the furthest thing to the right that the mainstream media on the right will give us. So even if he is controlled opposition, he's like the furthest thing. He's like the most generous thing that the powers that be will give us, right? Now, Charlie Kirk was never that way. He was never like, you know, doing those kinds of like extreme questionings of Care Bear Land or World War II history that Tucker was doing. But within the last couple of months of his life, he definitely was starting that shift. And something I think you guys got to consider is that, you know, this Charlie Kirk guy was only 31. He had, you know, kids here in this country, one daughter, one young son. So, you know, he's going to have success into the next generation. He's a Darwinistically successful guy. So he has a vested interest in this country being a, you know, good quality country going forward into the future. So, you know, maybe he was shifting. Maybe he was just organically noticing and shifting. And the guy was only 31 going on 32. So you guys think about this, you know, a lot of you guys in this community who've been doing your noticing for like quite a while, I mean, you guys are intelligent. You know, you guys probably do have good pattern recognition, probably a pretty good IQ and stuff. And I think one thing that I don't want you guys to escape yourselves is just having compassion for others in the sense that they might not notice as fast as you guys. I think it might be possible that Charlie Kirk was beginning to notice and was shifting his views within the last couple months of his life. That could be part of why he was taken out. You know, I'm not eliminating that theory. I think that's a theory. It's really important we keep that theory alive. So yeah, guys, just, you know, consider that's like, people are allowed to change their minds when it comes to this noticing stuff. It's a lot for just a normie to swallow, you know, dark capsule, the Care Bear pill, like all these kinds of things. That's a lot for like normies to swallow, you guys. So have a little bit more courtesy, I guess, and generosity to others being slow to come around to it. And yeah, I mean, that's really all for the video, guys. You know, Rip Charlie is still on my mind a little bit. You got to move on with life, though, obviously. I almost kind of want to log off the internet for the whole week, because just between the Ukrainian girl and Charlie, I feel like I've just had so much. I just had plenty of internet this week, guys. So it sucks. You know, all my work's online and stuff, so I got to, you know, keep looking at a screen even these next couple days. But if it were up to me, man, I'd kind of just go walk the dog, maybe watch some anime, and just try to stay offline, try to stay off the scrolling feeds right now. But I don't think I can have that kind of privilege right now. All right, guys. So yeah, that's all. Broomstick gonna sign off here. You know, Rip Charlie, I disagreed with him obviously a lot on things like the WQ. I think he wasn't hard enough on Gen Z women in general. He was way too hard on Gen Z men. He would do this whole thing where it's like, if you want to remain a boy, here's what boys do. Go do what your friends do. If you want to be a man, stay a virgin until marriage. And like all this like dumb stuff that just doesn't hold up today. Like all those kinds of like be a noble, masculine, God-fearing man, like that whole strategy died a long time ago whenever women just got gradually worse. You know, it takes two to tango, and if you want to be this like virtuous man or whatever, like there's absolutely no guarantee that that's like a good strategy. It's putting you on a good foot, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, good luck finding a virgin woman. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? Is there's so many virgin guys out here, and there's not that many virgin women. I saw some stat. I swear it has to be some BS stat where it's like 50% of guys age 30 or under report no sex at all, like total virginity. Man, I don't know about that. I could believe maybe like 40 or 30%, but I don't know about like half of every guy had no play at all in their 30. Or, you know, up to 30. Like, that's crazy. But I also could believe that, you know, I think there are, you know, these Gen Alpha or whatever, you know, men. Like, if you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old guy now in 2025, you're probably not getting play. You're probably getting chosen over for, like, better-looking 23, 24-year-old guys and stuff. I mean, I've seen this firsthand when I was in college in 2015 with, like, hypergamy, but, you know, I had to wait till I was more of an upperclassman to get laid, honestly. And I just think that's the nature of the times. But yeah, Rip Charlie, you know, even though he was really misguided on a lot of things when it comes to like conservative issues, conservative questions, I think he was like a good guy. Like, I don't think he deserved that at all. It's a shame what happened to him, obviously. Rest in peace, you know. And just, you know, keep your head on the swivel, guys. Where do you guys think we go from here? Let me know in the comments. Peace.